Good afternoon. It is June the 11th, 2003. I am Glenn Gonzalez, and this afternoon, Tom Bush, Mayo Livingston, and I are interviewing Henry Olivent on behalf of the Southwest Regional Library. And Henry's going to tell us, if he will, about his experiences in World War II. I'm going to add a little bit at this point before Henry starts. I learned talking with Henry that he was in a little-known organization that has only been recognized in the past few years called Naval Armed Guards. Henry is a true patriot and a first-class volunteer, having hitchhiked from Toccoa, Georgia to Atlanta the day after Pearl Harbor so he could enlist in the Navy. The unit he was assigned to, which I had never heard of until I talked with Henry, was a group of naval-trained gunners that were stationed aboard civilian ships traveling either independently or in convoys in World War II all the way from the Caribbean, and they were headed for Murmansk until Henry's last experience. I wanted to put that in to make sure that everybody was well aware of it, because Henry's told me this story and he leaves things out that we should know, but anyhow, we'll get it all on tape, I hope. Henry, tell us about your experience after you left New Orleans and wound up in the Caribbean off the coast of Panama and the German submarine.
Well, I guess we're 2 days out of Norfolk, Virginia, with a cargo for the Pacific Island. I forget the name. It's a very popular resort island. And anyway, we had that cargo. We were loaded with Quonset huts and VP boats and harbor patrol boats, escort boats, you know, lashed down to the deck. And we got within 60 miles of Panama, and we were getting gunnery lessons from the lieutenant, how to place your fire, you know. He had a little cotton swab, and you guess how many yards you was firing, see, and he'd touch it with his cotton wand there like that, and all of a sudden, I mean, it broke loose. We got the first torpedo. It must have been in the engine room because this ship sunk so fast, and it hit number 3 hole and number 5 hatch, that is, and it blew stuff everywhere. The decks were just turmoil and piled up with what was down in the hole. And of course we ran right quick, but and then the second torpedo hit before we could get in the gun tub. And the gun, you couldn't aim the gun. It was just a World War I gun, I would say. And you could only raise it so high, you know, elevate it so high. And when the ship was listing, we couldn't even get it out of the water. And we got an abandoned ship notice, and it was kind of a fast situation because the ship was sinking fast. And I jumped out of the tub. I said, I won't have time to climb down the ladder because I could know it was sinking, listing. And I looked out there, one of my buddies, Postel, was in the water with a mop, and he was ready, hollering hell, you know. So anyway, we got in the lifeboat, our starboard lifeboat, and it was listing, the ship was listing heavy, and we had to put our feet against the hull of the ship in order to slide down in the water. But we got down in the water safely and went and picked Brother Postel up. And then we had a problem getting out of the wreckage. We had bridge pontoon, instant bridge pontoon with cleats on them, you know, they were large. And they were out there just banging together, you know, making a heck of a noise. So anyway, and bunker sea oil that deep on the water, you're talking about something nasty now, bunker sea oil. But we eventually got out all that stuff. And those boats that were tied to the deck, just broke half in two. They were buoys, you know, and when the ship started sinking, it was tied across the midships there, they just broke half in two. Wish we'd have had one of them.
Did most of the people, most of the sailors get out, Henry? Did you lose any of your shipmates? Did any of your shipmates drown?
Yeah, I have a hearing problem, but well, we got on out of the dunnage and they set the submarine, and skipper on the deck was doing this. You know what we done, don't you? We got the oars and we began to make our way over there. And when we got there, he said, "Fellas," said, "hold on to the rail. Fellas, hold on to the rail." And that sounded good, you know, to hear. I was expecting German, you know. And so we held on to the rail, and he asked, was the captain aboard? And somebody said, I was like this, you know. Somebody said, no, but the mate's here. He said, he'll do. So he called him to answer the questions. He had a little book, black book, and he opened it up, you know, and he had the questions already on the page, and he asked him the questions, and he would answer them. And he was satisfied with the answer. What was your port of embarkation, and what's your destination? Of course, he told him we didn't know the destination, you know. We just would pick up our orders from Panama. I mean, you know, you didn't volunteer anything. So anyway, he, all the time we looking down the barrel of that gun up there, there's a German that don't speak English behind that gun. So he was a nice look. He was a handsome fellow. He was blonde and blue-eyed, and had a Hitler mustache and a goatee, clean shaven, and he had one of those German caps that they come down like that, you know, in the front. And I would figure that he had a mother in the United States, or was raised in the United States, and from his talk, it was college talk. He talked like a college, what I would call a college man. And so first thing he asked us is, did you lose anybody? Well, you know, that sounded good to me, a person interested in us, you know. Did you lose anybody? And the mate said, not that we know of. We don't know about the other boat. We don't know about that. So he proceeded to talk on. He said, do you have any food? You know, I was beginning to get relaxed. I wasn't enjoying it, but I didn't know what the outcome would be. So anyway, we told him we had pemmican and hardtack. You know what pemmican and hardtack is? Okay. Now, well, you could fight a war with hardtack in case you ain't never eat no hardtack biscuits. About hard as this table. And so let me see what else now.
About the compass and the cigarettes.
Oh yeah, he told the fellow, he said, no, he asked, do you have any cigarettes? And we said no. So then I felt relieved. He let the man on the gun turn loose and go down below and bring back cigarettes. The name of the cigarette was Muriatis, M-U-R-I-A-T-I-S, Muriatis. See, those, the way I hear it, those submarines stayed in a cove at night around the islands, you know. Of course, word come to me that they took liberty ashore at Miami. Wasn't nothing unusual for them to anchor off and send the boats, you know, in with the fellas so they could get them a few beers, you know, and a girl. You know, probably they spoke some English too. And where were we at now?
About the compass.
That was at the end of it. He said, your course is south-southwest, so many degrees and so many minutes. He said, you got a compass rose? And the fellow said, yes. And so he said, your course is south-southwest so-and-so, and latitude so-and-so. And I'm afraid I'm leaving out a lot of this.
No, I'm keeping up with you, Henry. Go
I
ahead.
wrote all that this morning. pages, you know, so I would, if I forgot something.
You did all right. You doing
But,
fine.
Tell him what he said as you all were getting ready to separate.
Oh, he says, fella says, I'm sorry to do this to you, but you know there's a war going on. And you have to prime me. I wrote all that this morning,
Yeah,
but
I
I
got
had
it all.
time, you know.
Right.
And
Tell him about your ensign almost getting you shot while you're talking to this fellow.
the ensign, I felt somebody lift my arm up like this, you know, and I said, well, I don't care who holds my hand on a situation like this, you know. I didn't look to see who was holding my hand. And it was my ensign, and he had a camera, and he was taking pictures of all this going on, see. And of course, you know probably what would have happened, because see, the Japanese would tow these boats whenever they captured a boat, sunk a ship in the lifeboat, they would tow him behind, and when he began to submerge, it would drown those folks, you know. They were tied in the boats, and there were no survivors. And all that runs through your mind, you know, until,
What year was this, Henry?
that was 42,
May the 24th.
May.
42?
Yes.
Well, what folks don't know was it, they sunk 50, what was that ship that made them, Kaiser made them so fast, Liberty ship. They sunk 50 of them on the maiden voyage. I mean, we didn't have a prayer, brother, we knew it, but that was the job they gave us to do.
What did the ensign do with the film that he took on the boat?
When we got ashore, well, I'm a little ahead here. We throwed our sea anchor out. You know what a sea anchor is? We threw it out so it lined the boat up with the waves so it wouldn't rock. And we spent the first night there in the boat with that bunker sea oil all over us. And then the next morning, sailing vessel going to St. Andros Island sighted us and picked us up. And there was two of them, and one took a lifeboat load and the other one the other. And the only man we lost was the fellow that he went to relieve himself the next morning. And he'd been eating some food probably, and he fell over, drowned. He fell over. He was on the rail and he fell over and drowned. The only man we lost. But when we got ashore, the ensign went to the port director. You know, he's the Navy representative there, whatever you call it, and showed him the film. Gave him the film he had them develop, and the result of that was that I went from $21 a month to $128 a month, and I advanced from apprentice seaman, third class, to second class seaman, to first class seaman, to boatswain mate, third class, which was coxswain at that time. I ain't gonna say let's do it again, but I benefited from that anyway.
We appreciate that, Henry, and your memory's great after all of these years, but it was a kind of a memorable experience.
We got it don't bother me. I mean, all that's history, you know.
Right.
You know, I don't wake up, you know, like they say, having chills and fevers and all that. But I'll always love the Salvation Army. They met us at the dock. The Navy would not have us. They had a small base there, and it was a Marine base actually, but they had Navy members too. And they rode the ship with the canal. They got on the ship and they knew the way to escort it through the canal. See? And they said they couldn't handle us. They didn't have food enough for us, didn't have clothes, anything. So they took us over to the Army base. And the Salvation Army looked after us. They got us some khakis and a skivvy shirt and some what's it called, them combat shoes or whatever they
Combat
were, and underwear. Didn't even have a shirt for us. We went around in our skivvy shirt. We took liberty, see, they wouldn't nobody have us, and they let us sleep in a outside a big bunker of some kind. They let us sleep, you know, stay there. But at night we was free to go and come. They didn't nobody want us. And we take in the burlecues, as they call it, you know. We go to picture show or go to the burlesque or whatever. We was on our own.
Was this now in the Panama Canal?
Yeah.
It was in the canal?
Yeah,
You were in it?
that was at the Panama Canal. There's a name for that place.
Cologne? Balboa?
No, that's on the
That's on the other
Pacific side.
Okay.
We were on the Atlantic.
Cologne?
I ought to have read that 2 or 3 times
That's all,
more.
that's all.
Y'all better read it too.
I think we got the most of it. Tell us about your trip in the Mediterranean when you were hauling barrels of high-octane aviation gas.
95 octane aviation fuel. A ship 2 city blocks long. No way it could miss it, don't you know? Well, they loaded us up. We watched them unload C rations or K rations. I don't know the difference. And they watched us, the spies watched us load that. And so we left under cover of darkness. But the moon come out before we got to Jib. That's down that Jib, it's Gibraltar, I think. Anyway, they bombed us from directly after we left until daylight, when they went back to Spain or France, wherever they come from. And they shumped the ship right behind me. That's what they call a coffin corner. I said, fellas, that's a big ball of fire. I said, they hauling the same thing we hauling, fellas. Biggest ball of fire I ever seen till September the 11th. And I said, we next. And we could see it was moonlight. We left under cover of darkness, but the moon came out shortly. And I said, we in the coffin corner now. And sure enough, here they come. We could see the pilot in the plane. We could see the bombs dropping. And he come right across, ways the ship like that, and dropping his bombs. One time I stuck my finger in my ear. I said, this is going to be a bad one now. And it bombed right up to the ship. And I was up at the wheel. My gun tub was next to the wheelhouse, one on each side. And I turned around and looked at the other side, and the bombs were still dropping. And yes, mister, thank you, Jesus, thank you. And they done that for several hours. And when it all hesitated there, this ship, a little escort, we'll call him escort, make him feel good. It was something small. His signalman flashed our signalman a message. And I could hear everything that went on. I was next to the wheelhouse. And the captain asked him, said, what did he say, Flags? He said, where was you hit? He said, tell him we wasn't hit. I mean, they had made that pass more than once. And he come back, he said, I didn't ask you, was you hit? I asked you, where was you hit? He didn't watch it all. And what saved the day partly for us, we had just got 2 brand new bag guns just out of the factory. And they give you a big bag of powder. In other words, you got something behind that projectile when you light that flint, strike that flint. And we shot down 2 planes. I mean, just a merchant ship, you might say. But we had some good gunners, and we shot down 2 of them.
How many sailors were on the guns?
1 to the gun.
1 sailor?
30 millimeter. Oh, now, we usually had a 4-inch 50 on the stern,
Yeah.
but they had replaced it with those 2 bag guns. We didn't need that World War I gun anymore. But when I first joined, they were still putting telephone poles on, and the 17th of July before they put the first gun on them ships. See, I went in December the 7th, like 20 days, I missed the telephone pole. They had them set on the back end, pointing at an angle up like that, where the submarines would think it was a gun. It didn't matter with them boys. No how. They were hard, and they'd sink you if it sunk them too.
How many Navy men were on the guns?
I think we had usually about 9 men on all but the George Washington. We had about 40 on the George Washington, you know, because it was a big ship. Funny thing about that George Washington, it's a side note, I was up with the signalman talking to him. I was captain of the watch. I was petty officer, and then I had to, you know, I could go about, talk to other folks. And there's a little commotion down there on the deck, and I said, Flag, what's going on down there? He said, that fella asked him, he said, I'm going down to see about it. So he went down and asked the MP, I guess, what happened? He said, that fella walked up there and asked me where a good place to jump over the side, and said, I said, well, right here's a good place. Just pick your place. Over we went. And we was coming up the Mercy River. See, I had 7 trips to Liverpool before all this happened. And for the invasion of France, trouble, or whatever it was, before or after one of them two. Anyway, they had a PDL, and PDL passed down the line, man overboard. And so they got to pass. See, the mine, it was mined. The channel was, they kept it swept clean. But if you got out of that mine, you was minefield, that channel, you was in trouble. So it had to pass down the line, man overboard. Whether they ever got him or not, I don't know.
Tell us about the avgas slopping around in the hold after you were bombed.
What?
Tell them about the avgas on those broken drums floating around in the hold of the ship.
Oh, the drums?
Right.
Yeah, they was a foot deep in 95 octane aviation fuel. We had to go barefooted. We couldn't wear no shoes, brother. In other words, we was on dynamite. We'd walk, it could have happened just like that. We got on through Gib, though. The planes left at daylight. They went back to Spain or France, and we went through Gib and hit Bizerte. We spent the night there, and they bombed us all night long. But they had a little trick they worked on. They had these smoke bombs around the harbor. Shoot, whatever they burned in them, it smoked up the place. And they bombed right on. We could hear the bombs explode. And when daylight come, you should have seen that harbor. It was that deep in Bordeaux. It's been there 2,000 years down in the bottom of that thing. And that stuff, you talking about smelling, it was better than perfume. But they missed us. That's the important part. And from there, that next day, we went on to the other port across from Sicily. We were taking the fuel for the planes that was bombing Italy at that time. And it's at the mouth of the Nile Road, but it slipped my mind. Excuse me, after 61 years, you know, I forgot something. Anyway, they had an ammunition dump there. And it was abandoned, you know. So we went over and got some 45 ammunition. I said, you know, one day I'll stop at another ammunition and get my gun. And it happened just that way, you know, and then we talked. I got my gun there. I told her that them 45s for 60 years. But we picked us out a gun. It was a pile of guns. Well, you've seen pictures of piles of guns. Well, this boy, my buddy, he was a trader, you know, and he went and swapped a carton of cigarettes for something there, a dog, a puppy. And I bought him off food for $10 for a puppy and brought him back to Georgia. Got him a ticket at Grand Central Station for $2, and mine wasn't but $7. That's another story. But anyway, there was parts of it I enjoyed. You know, being young, gun-ho and all, that's what I went in for, to do something. And
Tell
I
us.
wasn't ever scared. I'll have to tell you the truth. I wasn't ever scared. I was concerned sometimes, but I didn't have any fear and ain't had none since. I'd fight the devil if he come up here right now and wanted to fight. I'd say, roll up your sleeves, buddy. I'm ready for you. I don't have any fear. It just turned away with all the fear that I ever had.
Well, let's go from the warm waters of the Mediterranean to the North Atlantic off Iceland on the tanker, the William F. Burdell, on February the 7th, 1943.
1:30 in the morning, and it pitch black dark. I was on a tanker, and they bombed the tanker, and they put something red hot on it because it was sinking fast. And before I could get off, I just been, the bell said go to the gun tub, go to your gun. And I just did get off of that. It was sinking that fast, and I had binoculars on. And I said, well, good, I got me a pair of binoculars out of all this. When I leaned over, they hung on the side of the tub, and I said, ain't no binoculars worth this. I left the binoculars, and it went on there, and all the officers had the lifeboats up midship on a tanker. You got a catwalk goes up there, but it was underwater. And I saw that life raft. I said, I had no training. I didn't know how to release. And that the word release the lifeboat. And I kept looking around, and I seen a gooseneck with a ring on it. And I said, you know, I have a little brain, you know, left. I said, let me find something to knock that ring off. So there was a knocker hanging on a chain. I knocked that ring off, and what was holding it fell down, and the boat hit the water right there. I got all my men on the lifeboat, helped them up and got them onto the lifeboat, and then I jumped over, and they helped me get on the boat. And we sat there a few minutes. It was so dark until the phosphorescent on the water. You stir the water, and it makes phosphorescent. That's the only light we had. Pretty good light. And we sat on the raft, and we sat maybe belt deep in the water, or almost dry in the water, at that height, at that weight. And we got out a little bit, and they sunk a troop ship in that same. It was sinking right, just come down through the columns and sinking the ship right and left. And they done a good job. And we got out there ways, and we could see them, the soldiers' heads and bobbing up and down, hollering help. And we pulled them on the raft until the raft sunk titty deep in the water. I mean, you're talking about up to here, we couldn't take on no more. I mean, we was already sunk. About that time, machine gun bullet, tracer bullets started coming at us. I said, fellas, we in trouble here. I said, help us, Lord, help us. About that time, what had happened, being a gunner, you don't run just tracer bullets in a gun, because they're red hot. They're going to get red hot and jam your barrel up, see? And the fellow that was firing them didn't have no better sense. Thank you again. So here come a spotlight on us. It's time the bullets stopped coming, the spotlight come on. I said, boy, they got us again, you know. And then a megaphone come on and said, this is HMS Mignonette, Canadian Corvette, prepare to board. I said, thank you, Jesus. I mean, everything, some things went right. See? So the HMS Mignonette pulled alongside and threw over a Jacob's ladder, a cargo net, I think maybe they call it. And we all got off but one man. And I looked down there, I said, that could be me. I said, being a petty officer, I could talk to the captain. I said, Captain, you ain't gonna leave that man down there to die on that raft, are you? He says, Sailor, we can't jeopardize this whole ship's crew and the survivors we picked up just for one man. He said, I gave him one more chance. He hauled down to him, and the man couldn't move. He was still. He didn't have the clothes on, so we had foul weather gear on, and when they got wet, it held you. Some of your body heat, it held some of it, you know, even though it was wet.
Now, did you get hit then by, was that a torpedo, or where you bumped and when you went on this ship? Look,
The only injury I got, I jumped out of that gun tub, that first gun tub.
yeah.
It was,
Was
I was
it,
afraid I wouldn't have time if I hesitated and climbed that ladder down step by step. See, it was up halfway to the ceiling. So I jumped and I hit on this hip, and it's still sore today. It still hurts.
May I ask if you were torpedoed on that tanker?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
the coffee.
that's right. I didn't mean to omit it. Yeah, and it sunk fast too.
Henry, what was the life expectancy of a person in the water on that?
9 minutes. 9
9 minutes? 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
If it hadn't been for the heavy weather gear, you would not have made it.
That, the water between my lines, you like overhauls, you know, and then I had a jacket on too, and it held back some of the body heat. See, it didn't release it all. You know, what was between my body and the jacket, was a different temperature in that water I jumped.
I want to add this part. Henry was on his way to Okinawa in the Pacific when the atomic bomb was dropped first on Hiroshima and later Nagasaki. And soon the war was over. But Henry, having enlisted the day after Pearl Harbor, spent the entire war going somewhere or recovering from some of these torpedo incidents on shore someplace, and he didn't tell me about all of that. But nevertheless, it was a very interesting story. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your comments and telling us about the history just as it exactly occurred.
I live it over.
Tell me.
I do. Show him what I wrote off at today. I was just sitting down at the station. I mean, I still live it today. Page 1 there. I enjoy it. And I've got more tapes if you ever want to see them.
The first ship that Henry was on, which he did not identify, but in case somebody has recognition of the ships in that era, the first one he was on in the Panamanian area was called the SS Solomon Terman. It was the Likes Brothers.
S-A-L-O-S-O-L-O-N, Salon. I don't know what that word means, but
It was owned by the Likes Brothers Shipping Company, which is a well-known shipper for years and years and years in this country. And of course, the other one we identified it already, the William F. Burdell was the tanker in the North Atlantic. Do you know the name of the ship that you're on in the Mediterranean?
I can't tell you.
Okay.
I just don't remember. I don't remember.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
I think it was a Liberty ship, but I'm not sure. I was on one Liberty ship. It could have been. I went that direction, and we went to France. We unloaded, and one thing I noticed about the French, it was baby carriages. You look up on there, it was slope, you know, down to the water, and houses up the streets, you know, and every girl had a baby carriage, and they pushed it around in them streets like that to the fellow that guarded the gangplank, you know. I said, what's the deal on all these baby carriages? He said, when the Germans left, they caught every girl they could catch and beat them. And there they were pushing them baby carriages.